Okay, for this stage now, we're going to start mounting the conduit where we're going to run the wires through. This is all what helps to keep the print table nice and tidy. So what we're going to need is a piece of 20mm electrical conduit, approximately 480mm long, 2 of the saddles and the bases, and those things are what clip and hold it into position. And those are the actual mounts for the saddles, and then one of the actual conduit ends just to trim it off nicely. Now we should be able to just push this directly into the Y motor housing. However, if your hole is a little bit too big, it does come with the screw where you can screw it in, so if needs be you can put that piece in. It is a little bit tricky to get in there though. So that's what we're going to do now. So first thing is get that and push it into the housing. It should be just a nice tight fit. So that's into position. Next what we'll do is put the conduit itself into position, and it's at this point now you want to start looking and checking if we've got it level. And then using a pen, we get one of the saddles. We've only got that 1 centre mount there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to keep it, see we get it nice in line with the actual lead screw, nice and centred to the machine. And I'm positioning it centre as well to the actual print table base. So that's where I'm going to put that. I'm just going to push it to one side, mark off where I'm going to put my hole. Give it a starter hole. So for this I am going to use a pretty standard self-tapping screw, quite a big one with quite a big head. You may need to use one with a countersink. This should go in. Actually no, I'm going to change that out for one with a slightly smaller head. Position that onto the hole. Keep it nice and central. That's that housed in. Then using the saddle, clip the saddle into place. Then the saddle screws, which are provided with most of the 20mm conduit saddles. Do that up. And there we have it. Nice piece of electrical conduit for all the wires to run down, keeping everything nice, clean, tidy and safe. Next we're going to move on to the flexible conduit, which is going to go from the Y-axis motor over onto the print head. Okay, so I have my flexible conduit. This is normally supplied in around about 2 and 3 metre rolls. It's fairly cheap to buy. We only need 900mm of the length of this. So just cut that off. Okay, and using a tape measure, so measure out 900 comes to about there. Should be able to cut this with some scissors. Very easy. That's the piece I want. Keep that nice and safe down there. And yeah, we're going to mount this now onto the back of the Y motor housing and then onto the extruder. I've already put the coupling into position on that just to close it. Make it easier for you to see. I'm just going to spin the machine round so we get more of it in shot. Okay, so I want to now try and keep this sort of like central line down as much as possible. It's a bit difficult with the saddle, so we've got to come over to the one side and we're going to be running that there. So that does mean though that as the wires pass through, they're not going to be passing through at an exact angle. So what I suggest doing is just trimming off the edge of this here. So we can do that with a standing knife or an hacksaw. So just going to trim down that piece there. So the scissors was better at doing it. So that now just gets me a little bit more closer to that piece, and so I've got less of an angle to come through. And when I position the PTFT tube through, I'll make sure that the PTFT tube is running to this side of the saddle, but running to the opposite side of the conduit. So just put that into position. Okay, so we're going to use the saddle, and we're going to have to just trim that down because we want to get that nice and close. So I've just cut off the actual clip itself, and then I'm just going to trim down on the saddle. So that's just the saddle trim down there. And I'll put that into position. Get nice and close to that piece there. And then use a hole to start it off. And my self-tapping screw. Nice and tight it into position. Then I get my saddle, move those wires out of the way temporarily, clip that into position using my 2 saddle screws. Pop that in. Pop that in. And then at this point what we need to do is we need to push that onto the head, a nice click, and push that into there. And now we've got all the conduits set up ready for us to do all the wiring. Then we will be taking these in and out in order to be able to pass the wires through. I just thought it'd be good to show you the conduit going on separately, so it's there, it's in position, ready for us to do the wiring, which is the next stage, the all-important wiring. This is the bit now we're going to start breathing life into the 3D printer. Now, I will stress, we're going to be careful with the electronics, especially when it comes to hooking up the actual power supply. Obviously different voltages around different parts of the world, so just make sure that you're selecting all the right components, voltage specific to your country. I'm going to be using proper Molex connectors with the proper crimping tools. I like to make sure that my wires are all nice, clean and tidy, and I'm going to be using ferriles as well on any of the wires, any of the bare wires. This part here, I haven't decided on my other print table on the actual, I'll just bring that up to the camera view on there. So actually where I've got the extruder, the heat block and the thermistor coming up there, and also the fan for the E3D hot end, what I'm going to do, I think, is put a plug on here, and I may allow or may route the wire out here, so I've got a quick connector clip. The hope is then if I have got any problems with my hot end, I can just undo the connector, and then undo the front of the Titan, and that's easy access then for the hot end to come out of position, rather than having to keep going through all this. Obviously we will have a cut in the conduit around about here when we come to line the PTFT tape, the PTFE tube through, which is the feed tube for the filament coming up from the bottom.